All right, everybody. Welcome back to Stinker, Drinker, Thinker. We're three guys. We pour some pours. We make some cocktails, and we rank them in our own little, very special way. A awesome little ranking system we've developed known as the Stinker, Drinker, or Thinker. Now, we will tell you so you don't have to buy this stuff.
That's fair.
And today we're just strictly sticking to the pours side of thing. This is what I like to refer to as a Matisode.
You're thinking sticky because of honey. That's why.
Honey, yeah, we're doing a little Winnie the Pooh style episode here. We're gonna dip our hands into some honey barrels and get a little loose. I'm assuming we're gonna find some whiskey that make a good hot toddy.
Ooh,
can you imagine doing some honey whiskey in a toddy, Mr. Body?
Hottie toddy with the body.
Dude, have you ever had a toddy body?
No.
For no reason, people.
Dude,
hottie toddy.
Troy the Body Viglotti makes the best fucking hot toddy on the face of the fucking earth. Dude.
Who's that? I've been introduced to that person. Yet.
Troy the Body Viglotti, the hot toddy master. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm Anthony Longano. I am joined here by my two co-hosts,
Troy the hot toddy Body Viglotti.
Troy the hot toddy Body Viglotti. Troy, say hello.
How are you?
I hope it says that whole thing.
How are you?
Hey, how are you?
And then I'm joined by my good friend Matt McKibble, who's wearing. Is that another new shirt, Matt?
I think this is either Jungle Forest or a Steel.
Worker.
Nope. It's like
Steel Worker.
Steel Emerald. I don't know.
I get the emerald green type of pine tree, like you live in Spokane, Washington vibe.
Spokane.
You know? Spokane.
Spokane.
Beautiful part of the country. I know we have some listeners up there too, so thank you guys for that. A couple weird spots that me and the body have been in, but overall, I think Washington State is one of the most beautiful places in the country. Anyway, we're not drinking whiskey from Washington State, but we are drinking them from.
So yeah, the reason
3 different states tonight.
Yeah. So and this is.
What are we doing, Matt?
We're doing honey finish things. So I wanted to get a couple different variations of different honey finishes from different states. And one of them does honey finishing a little bit different than the rest. And so we have Texas, we have Kentucky, we have India, and then technically 2 Indianas.
Because Nulu is MGP, I think.
Technically,
right?
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, so we're going to give them a try, see if they're similar, if they're super different, if one's way, like, a lot of people talk about honey finish things, like Starlight does. It's one of their more sought after finishes. They do bourbon finish in honey. They do a rye finish in honey. And maple syrup and all that stuff. But their sweeter finishes are typically more sought after.
Honey's been kind of a big buzzword for finished stuff, at least over the last 6 or 7 months. I've seen more and more. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw more and more honey cask finished stuff. I'm curious to see how this Garrison Brothers one works. But before we get there, just a little housekeeping. Last episode, we did a review on some of the Bardstown Bourbon Company's latest releases, one being the Discovery 8, and then their very highly critically acclaimed, highly doesn't need to be in there. I have an app that is teaching me how to speak.
So you can speak real good?
Yeah, teaching me to speak
real good.
Speak
real good.
I'm learning from the Hooked on Phonics app. Makes me take out words when I'm putting too many words in too many sentences.
Have you tried Hooked on Whiskey?
Hooked on Whiskey.
Because it's a better program.
Yeah. But yeah, the Chateau de la Baude. We like both of them. They both went in our Infinite Drinker, but go back and take a listen or give us a watch. And if you are listening or watching, anything you could do that involves you pressing a couple things would be great. One of those things is a thumbs up or a 5-star review. The other thing is the subscribe button. We'd really appreciate the subscribe. And if you keep following along, we're going to be doing I know we've said this the last 4 episodes. We're still kind of working out the kinks on this, but we're going to be ramping up a big giveaway here that involves a bunch of stuff. I think a really special bottle is going to be on there if I can convince Matt to do it.
Oh, it will be.
It may.
It's going to be so special that I'm actually like trying not to give it away, but I know I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So like that's how good it's going to be.
There is a chance that
won't say names.
I'm not going to say names.
But yeah.
It's a 12-year bottle from Frankfurt. Let's put it that way.
Or it's something completely different.
Yeah, or it's something completely different, but you'll want to
like
stay
an 18-year bottle from somewhere else.
I'm definitely going to give away a little 50 ml of Blanton's and a couple other bunch of things. There'll be a lot of whiskey in there. And then we're going to introduce a couple things that Matt's going to do for all of us. Every single listener is getting a whiskey advent calendar from Matt.
Oh yeah, definitely not.
Yeah. Sure. No, we have too many. But yeah, just, and we appreciate any likes, subscribe, shares with your friends, comments, feedback. give us the middle finger. We'll delete it, but it's at least some sort of interaction. Follow us on Instagram. Maybe I'll have a Twitter soon. I started looking at that just because Instagram gets boring.
Just start tweeting like Kanye. What could go wrong?
Yeah. Kanye West is my inspiration to have a Twitter.
Please, God no. Oh boy.
But anyway, all right, let's get into it, Matt. Tell us about this Garrison Brothers.
Okay, so Garrison Brother is what I was alluding to as doing something a little bit differently. So unlike the rest of them that we're about to drink later, which is the more traditional way, which is they just either have a honey barrel or they have a bourbon barrel and they put honey in for storage, then they refinish something in that barrel. Garrison Brother, they actually chop up and cube one of their old barrels, like bourbon barrels, and they soak those in honey and they drop them in to a bourbon cask. So they're actually doing more like the Makers thing, where it's more of like a stave finished kind of thing. Yeah. So it probably won't have as much of a honey impact as my guess.
Or like what Clyde Mays does with apples.
This is direct honey into the thing, but it just soaked it's wood soaked honey put into whiskey rather than an actual honey barrel. So we'll see if that makes a huge difference. I have a lot of feelings on Garrison Brothers in general. I won't share. Not a fan.
None of us are. Matt's been to the distillery.
I've been there and didn't like it. But Texas whiskey, love it for the most part.
Technically, Matt, can we just clear the air on something? Mm-hmm. Is this a flavored whiskey or a finished whiskey?
This is technically, well, let's see. It should be a finished whiskey. Okay, this is interesting. They call it an infusion. So they actually say
it's a flavored whiskey.
This is a straight bourbon whiskey infused with honey. So take that for what
Garrison's fucking
I will say
peanut butter whiskey.
Their bottle's kind of cool. I don't know. They have like the actual like I don't know what to call this. A border, like it's a metal border. Born and bred in high Texas.
Did you get that at the distillery?
No, I found this at the Total Wine in Texas. Funny enough, but
do they wear cowboy hats at the Total Wine in Texas?
Yes. And at Garrison Brothers.
That's
Cooked,
amazing.
distilled, barreled, and bottled by Garrison Brothers. Drink like an adult is literally what it says. And there's a picture of Texas.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. Okay, corn variety is food grade #1 white. I don't know. All right, let's just open it.
Troy, just open this shit. Let's get it over with.
We'll see.
80 proof.
Yeah, also, yes, this is 80 proof. So, like, a really low proof Texas whiskey infused with honey. Yeah, we'll see. What could go wrong? What could go wrong? They have a cool star on their top, though.
Yeah, fuck the Cowboys. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, their entire distillery is just cowboy merch. No, I'm just kidding. It's not. It's worse than that.
My wife has a huge crush on Michael Irvin.
Really?
Yeah, she I think she just digs his style. He's a very good-looking older black man.
Okay.
Like just extremely well manicured dude.
Yeah. Small pour strike. All right.
I also like Michael Irvin.
Oh, sorry. Troy's got to wipe first.
You're telling me when to stop pouring.
No. Oh, I didn't. I thought you finished pouring. Then I said, okay, thanks. I would never dare tell Hassan what to do. I accidentally smelled it. We'll see.
You accidentally smelled it. Isn't it your job to smell it?
I didn't want to smell it yet, but I did. I committed. I actually have to look up the MSRP on this. I think it's not that insane, but it's pretty high.
I wonder if this is like at least good honey.
First thing I noticed is that it's 80 proof.
Yeah.
80 proof, I think it's $80 MSRP, which is, we'll see. It additionally has that, a lot of the Garrison Brothers smells like this. It has that
very
like
nutty,
not even over oaked. It's like that. It's what wood? It's like what specific type of wood? It's like it's not like.
Yeah, it reminds me of the lumber aisle at Home Depot. That's for sure.
Very sawdusty.
Lots of nuts.
I don't think it smells bad.
No,
it doesn't necessarily smell bad, but it smells like.
Is it chestnut?
Nuts. Yeah, I was gonna say chestnuts in particular.
Okay.
Mixed with like pine sol and the lumber aisle.
It's very unique.
It's got it's definitely got a
smells barley forward.
like maybe
Is that barley?
Yeah, I can get a little bit of that. Absolutely. It does got like a weird like chemical cleaner vibe to it though, that like a wood polish cleaner. I definitely smell barley though, Troy. It smells like I'm getting like, this is weird. I'm getting like some deja vu to something I used to smell frequently as a child. And no, it's not nuts. Just like some sort of like playground type of mulch or something.
Mulch or what is that they have? It's not like asphalt, but it's like that playground material that's really soft, but it's on the ground.
Rubberized mulch. Rubber mulch. Yeah, we have it in the backyard here.
Yeah.
Man, there's something here. Maybe I'll taste it.
So this is, I think I found the mash bill here. Okay. 74% white corn grown, or white Texas grown corn, 15% red wheat, 11% Canadian malted barley.
Huh.
11%. Okay.
I'm going to say something weird, but it reminds me of Jameson. Like regular Jameson.
It kind of tastes like you got a whole wheat, really, really healthy cereal, and then you just put a drizzle of honey on it. Maybe not even, I don't even know if I can tell it's really honey, but it's like a oat bran, like a really healthy oat bran with chestnuts.
Okay. I like that.
Anthony's faces.
Yeah, I can't drink that.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's not terrible. It's just like it's hitting really wrong.
Better, still better than the old 55?
It's up there with shitty whiskey. Yeah.
It's nowhere near the old 55.
I know. I should ask.
Nothing is.
Yeah, but I mean,
Nothing.
that might be the second worst thing I've tasted on this podcast. I don't, and it's not. It's flavored whiskey. Like, I'm not just saying that because it says it on the bottle, but like I feel like I'm drinking like tainted honey, and which is the finish is oddly honey, but like the nuttiness is there for a second. It tastes worse than it smells, but it still tastes like it smells.
It is weird because you can drink it and like the description of dropping cubes covered in honey into a barrel kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Is that weird? Like it has like they cut it up and they're like, it's like good enough. We don't need to wash those. Just throw them in there. It's like all sawdusty. They're
trying to simulate something that a lot of whiskey distillers do very well.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's going to be in that same conversation, then I think that they might need to step their game up.
Right.
Unless they're trying to set themselves completely apart from it being a honey barrel finished whiskey. Yeah. But
and that's why I kind of want to try this because this is these are all actually similar MSRPs. I mean, except for the store pick, we'll get there. But
was there an age statement on this?
Texas, so
I mean,
a couple years.
It still looks pretty light for Texas. I'm wondering if that's the infusion.
Undisclosed.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's 80 proof, it's watered down. It's gonna make it a little lighter.
Right.
A lot of the Texas we see is also is cast strength. So
the price tag is it's not going to influence my rating, but it's definitely higher than I believe it should be because proof, amounts to that price tag, and so does age, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like
part of it.
If that's
if you're not going to put an age statement on there, you're going to cut it down to 80 proof.
Yeah, exactly.
Why am I spending $80?
Then you better be using high quality ex bourbon barrels that were finished in honey,
which I don't think. Yeah, like I think they're cutting. I don't know. I don't know if it's maybe it is. They're kind of. They're cutting a corner, right? Am I crazy?
That sip was a little bit better.
It's not that bad if you dig into it, but does it seem like they're cutting a corner? Or am I just,
I mean, it just tastes like a blast. It just tastes like a blast of honey. Not a lot of bourbon profile at all.
It's charred honey. Like it's all this char.
My question is are those grinded down barrels? Are they charred? Like, are they ex-bourbon?
They're ex-bourbon barrels.
Or is it just barrels that they charred or that they chopped up? Because
we just found some lumber in the back.
I literally don't get any.
It is their ex-bourbon.
Do you get any? Chop up that 2x4 and toss her in there.
We gotta go to Home Depot.
Jerry Jones is coming down for dinner. He wants the honey finished.
You got those Traeger pellets?
Where's the Traeger whiskey?
We forgot. They said it's Texas wildflower honey. I just imagine like, they're I don't know.
It is opening up.
It is, but I'm still not a fan. Yeah. It literally just tastes like honey, man. Which is fine.
Sometimes honey does have a bit of a funk to it.
It's definitely got the honey funk to it. I just want more bourbon.
Too. Yeah,
I want more
yeah,
bourbon notes.
yeah.
All the honey finished bourbon stuff that I've tried tastes like bourbon, and then like there's this lingering thought of honey in there. Like the Nulu, I don't think I've tried the Justin's House of Bourbon one like we're gonna do later in the episode. I have a Total Wine store pick Nulu, and that tastes like whiskey with honey. I mean, we'll get there. I want to rush ahead.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, my initial thought is just to kind of recap.
Yeah, Garrison Brothers Honeydew. What do you think?
Yeah, not worth the $80, especially without an age statement. Basically, no bourbon in this at all, from what I can taste. And you know, it seems like it's infused whiskey means that it's flavored whiskey. They are flavoring this whiskey. That's not something I'd pay $80 for. I'd put this next to the peanut butter whiskey and the Fireball on the shelf if it was me. And if you're a fan of this stuff, God bless you. That's not what I'm saying. You know, with all due respect, I mean, this is flavored whiskey, and plenty of people like it. This should be a $35 bottle. It's a stinker.
Okay. I'm gonna say stinker drinker because I still would drink it. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going stinker drinker.
You guys realize if we both say the same thing, it has to go in the infinite drinker,
That's
right?
fine.
Yeah. Yikes.
I think it's not the worst thing I've ever had, but it's definitely not the best. You know, I opened this actually when I first got it, which is probably a year ago at this point, and I didn't enjoy it then, and not much has changed, to be quite frank. So I was kind of hoping
You didn't get it at the distillery?
No, I got it at the Total Wine in Texas.
Okay.
So real quick, I literally went to the distillery. I walked around and did a lap, went to the gift shop, and then we looked at each other, me and my wife, and we both said we have to get out of here immediately, and we just literally like left. Like Kate was very uncomfortable at that place. Won't say why. Anyway,
I mean, it's Texas. You can guess.
So anyway, yeah, I think it is very overpriced. I think for what it is, some redeeming qualities, but it's a pass. Yeah, for me. Oh, for the price.
Yep. If you held the gun in my head.
We're that territory. Holy crap! All right.
No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm gonna call it a stinker drinker. I would choose many other things to drink sooner, but I don't think it's offensive. I also, the only reason that I'm going to disagree with you, Anthony, in regards to it being a flavored whiskey, is because when I think of a flavored honey whiskey, I immediately think of something like Jack Honey.
Oh, interesting.
That is a fucking flavored whiskey.
Yeah.
One that I loved for a long time, long before I developed my whiskey palate.
Before everyone's balls drop, they drink Jack Honey.
That shit with lemonade is incredible, by the way.
Sounds like you need to be submitting something to the cocktail
I actually
doctor.
forgot.
I would be so down. Am I
sorry.
biased? Am I allowed to submit to the?
Yeah, I know you can. Oh, sorry, and real quick, I forgot my point. That do you think this would be good? Make a good cocktail? Could you use it as a cocktail?
Yeah,
I think that's what it's made for.
Okay.
Honestly, it just and it's steep.
Right, it's hard to mix it for that price.
sure.
But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I thought about that.
That's a good point.
Okay.
That's a good point. Yeah, I'd throw it in fucking pitcher of lemonade.
Could it be a hot toddy?
A pitcher of lemonade. Let's dump a whole bottle of Garrison
pitcher?
Brothers.
Y'all will be fine.
Honeydew
It's only 80 proof, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Would this
Won't
make a
even
hot
taste it.
toddy?
So we have to put this in the infinite drinker, and then Matt, can you please just dump this shit out?
Well, yeah. I mean, it I don't think it could completely take the place of honey.
Okay.
Because there's not residual sugar in it.
Right.
Unless you just, well, I mean, plenty of people drink tea without honey, of course. So
Sure.
It's just the essence of the honey. That's not how I make my hot toddies. But
The body toddy.
We'll get to that in another episode. Let's move on to this Woodford.
All right. So next, we're just going to proof order, I think is what we're doing. So next up is the Woodford.
Woodford Reserve honey barrel finish. We actually, when me and Troy were down in Kentucky, they did the release at the distillery for this that day. There is some buzz on it.
Yeah, it's definitely getting some decent reviews.
And then some other people making fun of it.
Yeah.
It was $60 for a 375,
Which is why.
And we were at Castle and Key. Well, we were at Buffalo Trace that day, which is a great time. We have a Buffalo Trace episode coming up. We'll talk a bunch about that. But and then we stopped over at Castle and Key, which we refer to as Bourbon Outfitters. Story for a different day.
Mm-hmm.
I like their stuff. Obviously, there's a ton of it up there. And then we went over down to Woodford, and we had quite the experience there.
Planning on going there already?
I mean, we didn't think we were going to have time.
Okay, because I texted you saying like, "Hey, can you grab this?"
Well, so I mean, Troy had already told me about this bottle like earlier that day.
I happened to stumble upon it on Instagram, and I was like, "It seems to be a limited release that is happening only at the distillery," and we were just so close to it. So I figured,
I don't even think we realized how close we actually were.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. We didn't. Yeah,
because at that point we were at Four Roses, which was about 45 minutes from Woodford, but we didn't realize we were trekking towards Woodford to get to Buffalo Trace. So Woodford was our last stop that day, and we had some good times at some of those distilleries. I would say that was probably Troy doesn't want to talk shit on everything, but that place is worth talking shit about, and a lot of people who actually did tour. Now, we didn't take a tour there, but a lot of people that we talked to, especially some friends we made at the hotels and even at the Bourbon Festival, said that Woodford is probably one of the worst experiences that they had down there.
I've been there.
Yeah.
It's all right.
It just seems like a big cash grab.
Yeah,
I thought they had a bar. I was
They do have a
Well,
bar.
so first of all, the bar is across the street from the distillery. So it's on the property, but it's across the street. So you're at the distillery. We went and we got these bottles. And we're like, hey, can we do a tasting or get like a cocktail? And they're like, oh, you got to go across the street. Right. So pull across the street, and there's like these signs everywhere that say, your cocktail journey starts here. Follow this road to the cocktails.
Talking signs. It was amazing.
It wasn't talking, but that's what they said with arrows. So like, it was like, and we had a long day. It was like 4:30 at this point. We had about a half-hour drive back to Southeast Louisville, and we just wanted to get a cocktail and like a charcuterie board or something, and then go have dinner somewhere. And we walk in, and it's to the bar area, and there's a couple people there. They had a really nice outdoor seating area, and like there's a case on the right-hand side. Really modern room, gas fireplace. It's just looks beautiful, right?
Yeah.
Look absolutely great. And everything there, the distillery looks beautiful. You could tell it was done recently. Like, it looks great. Upkeep was fantastic. And then so there's a case on the wall with a lot of their limited releases and older stuff. And then you walk up and everything's $17. Every drink on the menu is $17.
Wow. Okay.
Starting at $17.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's some you could do like higher end.
Yeah.
That would be even more than
that.
Yeah.
And then obviously you can do a tasting of any whiskey that you want to. You can spend $80 on the batch proof that we did a few weeks ago on an episode.
The Baccarat out there, you're going to start tasting that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
$2,000.
Yeah, like literally had everything. And, so $17 for an old fashioned with double oaked.
Oh, wow.
And the reason why it was $17 is because they gave you a souvenir cup. With it, but it was literally a
the Derby cups, the
Derby cups.
Oh, they're really shitty ones that are brown, like fake metal.
Yeah. I have more than one of those, by the way, over the years.
I mean, I put a mule in it or something like that. It's like a copper cup, but not the glass. I would usually make an old fashioned first and foremost, and then we ordered a charcuterie board, which was $25.
Yep.
So
salami and cube cheese,
Lunchables, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
No,
dude,
not
really.
really.
I was like, damn.
So
all right.
after tax and tip, it was like $65 for 2 drinks and a charcuterie board.
Yep.
And at least I got to keep my cups, right? Whatever.
At least you got a happy ending.
So Troy goes outside to get us a seat, or to fill up our waters. Because the water pitcher was outside. Yeah. So Troy
was the water free?
The water was free.
Okay, good.
And he took the charcuterie board out with him, and Troy knows what he wants. That's the nicest way for me to put it without me trying to. Troy knows what he wants, and Troy will tell instantly if someone hands him something, like when he almost killed the hot dog guy. We got to tell that story.
Oh boy, I felt bad for him.
Yeah,
that was just me being a hungry asshole.
Yeah, you were hungry. Yeah. So anyway, they hand him the charcuterie board, and he looks at me, and he's like, "It was closed," and I'm like, oh God, like what's wrong? It looks great, like it's closed. What's wrong? So like, I get the drinks. So I order the old fashions. Within a minute, there's 2 old fashions handed to me, so I know they're batched, which is fine. When you're paying $17, I want someone to mix it for me. I'm just gonna say that right there. Batched old fashions are fine, And the place wasn't that fucking busy, but not only were they batched, the fruit that was in it was this thick. It was like full, like pieces of orange in there. And fruit flies were just flying out of the cups. Like, they had been sitting on the counter, and the guy just put ice in it and stirred it, and brought them out to me. Fruit flies flew out of the cups, and I was like, all right, this is great.
Didn't somebody call you like chief or boss? Or
something?
And
I don't like that either.
all right.
Yeah. Anyway, so we go outside. Our $25 fucking charcuterie board is frozen.
Really?
Frozen solid. The cheese is frozen, and that's the first thing Troy said. He opens up and goes, "What the fuck is this?" And I do. It's like, what the fuck? And I'm like, it's cheese. Eat it. He's like, it's fucking frozen cheese. And I was like, all right, Troy, whatever. And I just think he's being an asshole with food like he normally is. And I took a bite. I was like, oh, that cheese is fine, Troy. Like my teeth, it's falling out.
Yeah.
You know,
Classic.
they had the good pickles in there, and those weren't frozen.
That was the best thing on there. Yeah.
Yeah, and then these bees started flying. I don't fuck with bees. And it was just terrible. It just really put a bad taste in our mouth. Literally, the old fashioned wasn't that great. We just got out of there. So very bad experience overall at Woodford.
You know who does fuck with bees?
Who? Honey
finished whiskey.
Troy, pop this one.
I will say one thing about this. We're doing more of the traditional honey finished whiskey now. So this is actually the third time this barrel's used. So they will age Woodford in it. They'll pass it off to a local bee farm. They'll mature their honey in it, and then they'll give the barrels back, and they'll do about a year finish in those in the honey finished barrels. So yeah.
I did ask the distiller, since they just released it this morning. All right, go ahead, Troy, pop it. I'll tell this quick story.
375.
Yeah. So they did so it just was released that day. It just showed up to the distillery from the bottling house that day, type of thing. And Troy and I, it was 4:30 when we got there. We didn't think we were going to be able to get it. We were actually shocked, and they had a ton of it left, which is why I was able to grab you one.
It took a couple days to sell out, I think. Yeah.
And
that's why I like 375s.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And I asked him, I was like, have you guys tried it yet? And the guy literally was like, yeah, we tried it. We all get to try it this morning. And I was like, well, how was it? And he goes, yeah, it was okay. It's a little hot.
Yeah.
So at least the one guy in the shop gave me the honest answer.
What is the proof, Troy? I think it's
47.2 or something.
It's 90 proof.
90 proof. Okay.
It's same as their traditional.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Technically 90.4.
This is literally just Woodford finished in a year with honey. I mean, that's all it is.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if you just imagine, you said $60 for a 375. So
yeah.
So it's $120 per bottle, essentially the equivalent. So it's $40 more than the Garrison, which
I think it might have been 65.
Jesus.
I mean, it's still
even worse. But
the front label looks like the back label, and then you turn it over, and the back label is just a barcode. So it's like, well, are they both back labels?
Here's the thing: I like 375s because they can give it to more people can obtain it.
Yeah,
which is great.
I will also
they make a lot more money that way too.
I'll give them a bit of redemption because I actually really like that bottle, even though
it's a small bottle.
Yeah, because it's smaller, but it's just way more easy to hold and pour,
and it's just their regular bottle just shrunk down.
Exactly.
Yeah, so all right, into it. Let's do it.
You get the honey. You absolutely get it.
I'm just thinking of the Garrison where you get that chestnut. Like you get a little bit of
there's definitely a nutty
varnish.
Yeah.
Is it varnish?
Yeah, there is more of that malt.
Yeah. I wonder if the honey does something. You'd think like super sweet honey, like you get a lot more of like
goodness gracious.
A lot more of like the weird note, like the deeper notes of honey. It almost changes the characteristic of the oak.
Guys, you got to try this.
We're getting there, Anthony.
Yeah, I'm gonna take. I'm gonna need like 5 minutes, but I'll get there.
Troy will walk there eventually. Har har har.
After you both try it,
I'm still smelling.
Don't say anything when you try it. Okay. Don't say a single word. We're all gonna count to 3, and I want you to tell me the first thing you taste. We're all gonna say one word. We're all gonna say it at the same time.
I like one-word reviews.
Yeah. We're gonna count to 3. We're all gonna say it at the same time, though. Let me know after you taste it.
All right, hold on.
And let me know when everyone's ready. I'll count to 3. Shocked.
I don't know the one word you're looking for, but there's something familiar. All right, ready?
Troy?
No.
You should have to count down.
1, 2, 3. Coffee.
Cereal.
It's coffee. You don't taste any coffee?
I get coffee that you said coffee. I was thinking like...
It's got like an explosion of coffee. Maybe that's because I still taste honey and I can actually taste fucking bourbon in this one. Compared to...
It's more mocha, I think, than coffee. But it is weird. It is those like...
Mine wasn't going to be one word, so I didn't say anything.
What was it?
Couldn't think of one word.
Chocolate
Caramel
malt.
macchiato?
Chocolate malt.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, okay. That's yeah.
It tastes more like...
It tastes delicious.
Yeah, it's different. It is not what I would think of as a honey. If you blinded me, I would 0% chance I would say this is a honey finish bourbon.
Okay, so let me see that bottle again one more time.
It's different, but in a good way.
I don't get the,
but it doesn't
the
make
hot
any
that
sense.
he's talking about either.
Okay.
I don't know how it's hot if it's no offense, but it's just
Oh,
Woodford,
that's why.
right? I mean, it's not.
I just figured it out.
You said it tasted hot though.
Okay, so I'm reading right from the label. A blend of Woodford Reserve bourbon whiskey, finished in honey barrels, and straight Woodford Reserve bourbon whiskey. Okay, maybe I didn't.
So literally just take. Okay, so it's actually even different. It's actually just Woodford blended with Woodford honey. Okay.
Okay, so does that mean, and if you don't mind educating me a little bit, because you know how they also make they make a wheated whiskey.
Yeah, they do make a wheated,
and they make a malt.
They also make a wheat whiskey too. Yeah.
Wait, say that again?
They make a wheat whiskey and also a wheated whiskey.
Wheated bourbon?
Wheated bourbon, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, my question is, are those a part of, are those bourbons, like, are they a part of this blend? Or is it just...
Well, so I think Matt kind of clarified this a little bit before. It's not necessarily a blend. It's Woodford Reserve.
Well, it says a blend.
Right. It's a Woodford Reserve finished in barrels that were used for aging honey and Woodford Reserve.
So, but the bottle,
which Woodford
so it's
Reserve
that.
is my question.
No, okay, so it's that, but then it's also mixed with regular Woodford Reserve. So it's like they took a portion of the honey finish Woodford and then blended with regular Woodford.
Oh.
Which is the standard Woodford Reserve off the shelf.
But potentially none of the wheat or the malt whiskey are in here?
I think when they say Woodford Reserve, that is their standard product, which is 72% corn, 18% rye, 10% malted barley.
That's surprising.
I could be, I mean, that's all we have the information on it, so that's all I have.
I mean, you're definitely going to get more of a flavor bump just from it being in barrels an extra year.
But also, the honey doesn't give you honey. I'm thinking honey sweet. It gives you so much more amber and it is such a different flavor experience than I would think.
Do you think there's
honey.
like a chemical reaction happening
With the oak? Yeah, I mean, if you just let honey sit on oak for long enough, I wonder if it just tastes different.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's not honey.
I couldn't even venture to guess, but...
Well, Matt, give us your take on it.
Woodford honey. Interesting. I like it. I get a lot more cereal. Coffee, I think, or like that chocolate malty mocha is
Espresso.
super interesting. I would never have expected that at all. It's expensive. I mean, $60 for 375 is a little outrageous. Especially when you're paying, it's Woodford Reserve, right?
Yeah.
So I think if we're taking price out of the equation, because I think it is overpriced, but it's limited, whatever. I'm just going drinker. I think I'm just going drinker. On the verge of being a drinker thinker, quite frankly. But I'm going drinker, and I like it.
Cool. Yeah, I am shocked by it, honestly. I'm not a big Woodford fan to begin with. And that had I know, and I wasn't that way. I was that way before we even went to the distillery. If we went somewhere and, Woodford was on the shelf at some bar, I would look at everything else first. So very, very shocked by it. I think it's delicious. I think it's surprising. It's got a lot of the honey, but the chocolate malt coffee espresso type of, it's like a honey latte, a mocha honey latte. It's very drinkable. I'm just going to call it a straight drinker. Not worth the price, but again, it's a limited release, distillery only release, so they'll hawk it up, which I think warrants it. When in Rome, buy the distillery releases and hope that they're good, and this one's good.
It's crazy. They get away with charging a full price bottle, half bottle size, but for full price.
Yep.
It's kind of crazy. Yeah.
Yep. Troy, what's your take on it, man?
Well, I just did a quick research, and just to confirm, we are correct in our thinking that it's the wheat whiskey is not a bourbon, the malt whiskey is not a bourbon. So based on the language on that label, the malt essence, or I don't know, the illusion of malt is coming from something else, which I think is really interesting. But I do definitely taste it.
It's gotta be the barley or something.
Yeah, I mean, but I definitely don't taste that in a regular Woodford Reserve.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. So it's more than the sum of its parts in some way, shape, or form, I suppose, which is cool. I like it. I will call it. Please hold.
Holding.
I mean, it's complex. I'm Googling shit. I'm calling it a drinker thinker.
All right.
Yeah.
Very fair.
Yeah.
Very fair.
Before we move on, Troy, that was one of the more non-pleasant experiences we had down there. What was your favorite thing that happened while we were in Kentucky?
That is a very good question.
Favorite story?
Favorite story? I don't know. I don't know if I could choose a favorite story. Well, no. I mean, we had a lot of good times. I think we had a really fun time at that bar, the hotel bar in downtown Louisville.
Oh my God!
We were playing pool.
Would you call that fun?
Buffalo Trace?
No, that wasn't. That was at the
It
actual
was
hotel.
it was just such, unfortunately bad service. But
Troy
we
spent
were making the best
6
of it.
hours looking for a restaurant.
I took a while, not 6 hours,
On
but
his
I took a
phone.
long time. I really did. Like, I just wanted to, check out. I wanted like something casual, but something good. Like, remember? Oh wait, you weren't with us. Wait,
I was there in spirit, Troy.
no.
We went
The trip before.
Oh,
Because we didn't go to that big, massive. Is it Merle's?
Merle's. We didn't go there, but yeah.
I went there with Anthony and Alden and Molly, and like I guess I was kind of looking for a place similar to that, like casual, good food, but just massive whiskey list and such. And I thought that I found this hotel bar that was going to kind of be similar to that, and it wasn't. And it was just laughable.
Yeah.
This is not the story that I want to tell.
Yeah.
by the way, but
We have plenty of time. The hush puppies there were great. Every
They were,
whiskey Troy
yeah.
wanted to try was gone, and
Yeah.
the waitress was just not there.
She was
I'm
absent,
pretty sure
very
she was
absent.
going home and taking naps and coming back and
Yeah.
serving us, and then going home and taking naps, and then feeding her parents who were there. Anyway,
yeah, the vibe of the place, like it's a hotel
It was
whiskey
really
bar,
cool.
and it's like, yeah, the potential's through the roof.
Well, you hinted at that wasn't your favorite. What, like, do you have a standout moment?
I was gonna say, I think just the tours at Buffalo Trace,
Oh,
for me, because I really, I absorbed a lot. I took some photos, and I listened, and I tasted, whiskey that I was familiar with. Nothing crazy outside the box. But saw the behind the scenes stuff, and I just loved the passion that each and every employee has.
the staff there is incredible.
Yeah.
We're going to talk a lot about that. We actually a few weeks back we put out a video or an episode on their mash bill 1. We've gathered a lot of information on them, especially since being there. Mash bill 2 episode should be out in a few weeks. We should definitely deep dive into that day, because I think we spent more time there than we spent in any other distillery.
And it makes me feel good about how much Buffalo Trace I've consumed in my life prior to knowing the influence that they've had on the bourbon industry.
Yeah.
It's not because I had done my due diligence back in 2019, but it's nice to know that I was supporting a brand that has been such an incredible pioneer for the whole industry. It's just and they make great quality products, and thankfully their entry level Buffalo Trace is affordable and
Better than most
really
other shit.
fucking
Yeah.
delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Buffalo Trace does not stand a chance.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, let's
Cracker
do a
break?
cracker break.
Honey break.
Cracker break.
Honey break.
Cracker break.
Welcome back from Cracker Break. Honey break. This Cracker Break's brought to you by... Oh my God, so fucking good. Oh my God. Yeasty Boy goddamn bread company. Best crackers on earth. Hey, Anthony.
Truly.
These are... you know what? Hold on.
Yeah. Seriously.
I'm going to eat a
They
cracker.
deserve a moment.
You know what? Oh my God. All right, Anthony.
Matt.
Give me a number. 1 through 12. 10. Sorry, 1 through 10. And I'll use this break to mention, submit your jokes, please.
Yeah, head over to stinker.com and give us some
Send me some jokes. If you send us a great joke, it makes both of them laugh.
We just sent out a bottle or a sample of E.H. Taylor Single Barrel to our buddy, was that Brent?
I believe so.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think Brent won the last one, right?
Yeah, make
From
them both
Marshall out
laugh,
in
and I
Ohio.
will send you any sample from my whiskey collection. Your choice or my choice, whatever you want me to pick a random. Happy to do so.
Stingerdrinkerthinker.com. Okay,
All right, 1 through 10.
9.
I'm reading this for the first time. Let's do it. A penguin takes his car to the shop, and the mechanic says it'll take about an hour for him to check it. While he waits, the penguin goes to an ice cream shop and orders a big sundae to pass the time. The penguin isn't the neatest eater, and he ends up covered in melted ice cream. When he returns to the shop, the mechanic takes one look at him and says, "Looks like you blew a seal." "No," the penguin insists. "It's just ice cream."
I like that.
Was that you giving someone whiskey for that one?
No, these are just internet ones because we need more submissions.
Submit your jokes, because if you submitted that one, Matt would have given you
Sample Heaven Hill 17 or something. I don't
yeah.
know. Who knows? We don't know. Anyway, let's get into it.
Starlight.
Starbright. One of my favorite distilleries.
Started as a winery. Hubert Carl T. Hubert.
Huber. It's the Hubers.
Hubert down in what the fuck town is it?
Says I'm on the bottle.
Yeah.
We need to find it.
Borden, Indiana, but it's it's down by the French Lick down there in Nashville County area.
Yeah.
Typically.
Anyway,
go ahead.
Oh, so they are a still family-run farm. So they do. Maybe we'll have an episode on them. We should. But they have a whole U-Pick farm with fresh made ice cream, and they got really big into whiskey and spirits, and they do a bunch of stuff. They do brandies, perry brandies, peach brandies, whatever. But they are known and getting a lot of recognition now for their finishes. So they have rye, they have malt whiskey, they have obviously bourbon, and they are considered around the bourbon community as one of the best whiskey finishers in the game.
I got a sherry single barrel store pick that I've been slugging.
Yep. And it sounds like this.
Thick pop.
But they're cool. They have a whole, if you just join their Facebook, if you're local, they just tell you exactly, they take pictures every day of what's in the store. They do orphan barrels, so they just bring back stuff, and they're super friendly, super accessible. Their tours are awesome.
Kid friendly too. Ice cream shop on the premises.
I got nothing but good things to say. I know some of my friends have had not the best experiences overall, but I love that place. I recommend to everybody that's around there to at least check it out. So,
Troy, didn't you almost get kicked out of that place?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd love to tell that story.
Yeah.
Do we have to?
Yes.
Do you really want to? Or not?
Yeah.
Are you being sarcastic?
I can tell some of it. It's honestly, I had a great experience there. So
it was weird.
I'll start by saying that.
Yeah, it was just a very weird thing that happened.
This is 110.
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah. That's good. It definitely smells more like bourbon than the others.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So really quickly, this was post the whiskey tasting that we did, which was incredible. I had a blast. I developed a newfound respect, and I already respected them a whole bunch, but even more so after that tasting.
We did it was like a thieving tour. So you go into the Rick House and you just try whatever you want.
Yeah,
it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And our tour guide was super cool, and she could tell we were invested, and she knew we had this podcast, and just really got some good treatment there. And listen, the bar wasn't necessarily set incredibly high in terms of the wine quality. And this is not to sound, as pretentious as I possibly can be, even though sometimes it's just inherent in my behavior. But I definitely gave them I wanted to give them a very fair chance with the wines. But I had a few whiskeys, of course, on the tour, as did everybody else, but I had no more than anybody else. And I'm going to just blame my complexion maybe, because I get flush maybe more easily than some people. I have very fair skin, so if that's the case, then I guess I understand it. But there was a girl behind the winery tasting room bar, and she sort of took one look at me. I think I asked a question about something, and maybe she thought I was slurring my words, which I so vividly remember all of this, so I know that
I can
really
attest.
Wasn't. Yeah,
I think we were all a little tipsy, but there was 0% chance that you were drunk enough not to do a tasting.
Troy could drink a whole bottle of Buffalo Trace, and I've seen him do it and not slur his words.
Yeah.
And sometimes I do. Don't get me wrong. But
no.
But this time I wasn't. I definitely wasn't drunk. And she stepped aside and spoke to one of her superiors and whispered something into his ear, and I don't know what it was, but it had to be something along the lines of, this guy seems wasted.
We got one.
Yeah. And this was, based off of virtually nothing other than the way I looked, I suppose. And so he he came up to me and said, I'm. I actually, Matt, do you remember exactly what he said?
So he said something to the extent of, "Hey, so she's very uncomfortable serving you.
Yeah.
It seemed like you were intoxicated.
Yeah.
And so I'm the senior whatever here.
Yeah.
I will serve you, but it's gonna be very small pours. And if you're okay with that, we can still do a tasting essentially.
Yeah. And
okay, yeah, all right.
Little did they know that Troy probably knew more than anyone serving
I've
there
never
because
seen
he's
Troy-
a world-renowned master sommelier.
I've never seen Troy get, and I don't think you were a little heated by the comment. I think,
I'm sure I
but
felt
you handled
some
it
emotion.
fairly well.
Yeah. Because I understand what it's like. I've
Yeah.
worked in wineries before, and I currently work in hospitality, and I know as a manager, you can't really take those chances if it's going to cost you your business or liquor license or whatever the case may be. So I get that. But yeah, I proceeded to do my absolute best to grill him as eloquently as possible and enunciate every single word with as many intense wine questions about the process of how they make their wines as possible.
He did pretty well. He did, and
I could have gotten a lot worse.
Yeah. You got a really good well, actually. That was good. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, and honestly, it was, I'd go back many times. It's not like I'm not going to ever go back. I'm sure it was just a one-off experience, and I don't hold it against him at all. So
she didn't like the cut of your jib.
Well, no, and to be fair, you're like, well, it's fine. I'm going to spit anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
I was planning. Yeah.
Right.
I was probably the only fucking person in that entire winery who was spitting out their pores. So.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Good story. It was a weird moment. Everyone's
like,
what is happening right now? Anyway.
Yeah. Happens to the best of us.
Digress to tell you that we'll try this whiskey. Starlight,
Anthony's
honey finished bourbon.
I'm already on my third sip.
He already poured some more. He's finished the
Sorry
bottle
about
already.
The timing of the story there.
Oh, you're fine.
No, it's perfect. It's fine.
It smells like a bourbon. It smells like their bourbon.
It smells like bourbon with honey.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yep.
I feel like there's a honey.
You do get
here.
a good amount of proof. It tickles the nose, but not super aggressive.
I think the proof is big here compared to the other two, especially with a honey finished. I think that the proof allows the whiskey to cut through more. It's definitely hotter, but I think the proof allows it to cut more, and I'm actually tasting more bourbon finally.
I get a good amount of peanut butter. Is that weird?
Am I getting any peanut butter?
Maybe it's the honey and the brown sugar, and just have the classic bourbon flavors plus honey. You almost kind of equates a little bit of peanut butter. Almost.
I eat a lot of fucking peanut butter.
Banana.
This is just delicious.
It tastes like a finished bourbon.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I'm on a little bit of a Starlight kick right now myself. Their finished stuff is anything I've had is just outstanding.
They do everything. They do maple. I mean, you name it, they've probably done it, or they're planning to do it. They do a lot of like the VDN. I think we've talked about and stuff. So yeah.
Well, I'm just gonna slug this if everyone's cool with that.
You got it. Any other particular notes other than it's delicious?
Yeah, so my little quick take on it. The nose is super impressive. It's still got a little bit of that nutty honey characteristic that we've been kind of catching on the other two bottles, but definitely smells a little bit hotter. Definitely getting a little bit more of that leather and oak type of thing. Once it gets in there, the heat is obviously very forward just because I think we're coming from 2 lower proof pours, and that's probably the hottest thing we drank all night. So I think it's sitting around 110.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, I mean, traditional brown sugar notes with a lot, more of a chestnut thing than a peanut type of thing still, but a nice, beautiful, round, sweet honey mouthfeel and finish. The mouthfeel, the honey mouthfeel, the coating that you get, like, if you ever squirt some honey in your mouth or if you drink like tea and at the bottom there's that just little bulge of honey left type of thing. It's there. This is a drinker. There's not really much more else to say about it. I think it's just 100% a drinker. $80?
60 or 70.
Yeah.
Oh.
Cheaper than the other.
It might be 60.
Cheaper than the other two per volume, I guess, too, as well.
Yeah. I think they might have actually bumped up to 80, but anyway, yeah.
Whatever it is, it's that I'd pay $80 for that, and I think it's worth it, and it's the best pour we've had
by far.
Yeah,
hands down.
By far.
Yeah,
I'll call it a drinker. Matt, what do you got?
Yeah. I mean, really, it is the most whiskey tasting finished in honey, all wrapped up in a nice package. Yeah, it is just significantly better than the rest at the same or less price. I Yeah, if you don't know Starlight, check it out. They're much more distributed than they used to be. They're definitely getting a lot of recognition. So, yeah, I don't know if you see a finished thing from Starlight. My personal seal of approval, no matter what it is. Probably that's a little over exaggeration, but who cares? Troy,
I'll give it to you, Matt, because you've been repping them and praising them for as long as I've known who they were.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like you're the first person to tell me about them, and I've heard other people since who maybe don't even know you say that they are really great at what they do. So kudos to you for that, and to them, and this whiskey is a drinker. It's undeniably a drinker. I think it's more than twice as good as the last two that we've had. I don't want to jump the gun because I know what's coming up next is very delicious because I've had it before, at least twice now.
Yeah.
But side by side is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm glad we're doing this. So yeah.
Yep.
And if I didn't say it, drinker as well.
Yeah. And what is coming up next? Now, I think this is a Justin's House of Bourbon. When we went down with Alden and Molly, Alden got. I made him get it, and I did try it at his house. It's really good.
Yeah.
So, my Total Wine one is really good too. So Nulu's a really cool place. We've done a couple Nulu pours on here at some point or another. I think we did.
We can do a full line sometime.
Yeah, we should. I mean, we have enough of them. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Nulus.
That's insane.
Yeah, and they finally just started hitting the stores in Indiana too. They also do state picks as well. Kind of like what's that other one that we did?
Virginia does one.
Oh, Penelope does state
Penelope
picks.
does, yeah.
What I mean by state picks, it's like an Indiana barrel pick, essentially.
Yeah, Indiana Select, whatever.
Yeah, whatever it is. So
who are the people who pick?
That's a great question. We'll have to look into that. I'm not necessarily sure, but like they finally started hitting the stores here. We've always had to hunt them elsewhere. Nulu stands for Louisville. There's a little sector in Louisville.
New Louisville.
Yeah. It's a nice little bar strip too. We've hopped up and down it. But yeah, I mean, essentially it's MGP.
It's finished MGP.
It's finished MGP. But whoever's picking the barrels from MGP for these Nulu guys, they know what they're doing because I have not had a single bad Nulu pour. And the honey stuff. I think this was the first Nulu honey was the first honey finished bourbon I tried, and it was my Total Wine pick. Yeah, which I very much like.
They do a ton of Nulu's cool. They just do a ton of finishes, and yeah.
Justin's House of Bourbon is a cool little shop in the middle of Louisville. It's about a block south of Old Forester, block south, and then a block to the west. So quarter mile walk. And there's a nice parking lot in between Old Forester and there where you can park your car. And then if you clean up at Old Forester, you can stop at your car, drop your bottles off, go to Justin's House of Bourbon. And then that bar where we got the Pappy, that I think was Troy was talking about before, is right in between them. But Merle's, and that place is way better than the place we went to in Bardstown. But Justin's House of Bourbon is a really cool little spot. They do a lot of good barrel picks. I have a couple.
That's what they're known for, mostly. Yeah,
I have a couple good barrel picks from them. All the stuff. Justin's House of Bourbon did the Whiskey Row selection at the Bardstown Bourbon Company. The Bardstown Bourbon Festival tour this year. Show. God damn it! You can tell I've been drinking. They did. Did all those picks there. Obviously, the dude knows what he's doing. The store is really cool. Have a really cool bar, and then it's like a whiskey museum too, where they have a lot of vintage rare stuff. Obviously overpriced, but like if you're a collector, you're never going to see that bottle again. So like,
did you see the vault in the back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
It's really, really fucking cool. I went back there to go to the bathroom, and they were on their lunch break, and they were eating at the table in the vault.
That's amazing.
And I like looked in. They're like, "You want to come in and take a look?" And I was like,
"Yeah, I do."
Yeah. Anyway,
I
almost bought a bottle of Willet there, a purple label.
They have a lot of their liquor stores. They have a lot of just standard stuff, but they have a huge section on their picks, and then they have their secondary market thing, which is they buy it and then they say, "Hey, look, we bought it for a higher price. We're gonna sell it for a higher price."
These guys will have Blanton's there.
Is,
These guys will have Blanton's there for $110, which is still cheaper than most secondary markets. They'll have E.H. Taylor Singer, but they'll have all the Buffalo Trace stuff there, Wellers and all that stuff. Just and they even put a sign up that says, "Hey, we know we're overcharging for this.
I appreciate
that,
but
we pay MSRP for it, and we have to make a profit.
Yep.
If you want it, you can buy it. If not, it will sit on the shelf. Like and credit to them because they don't necessarily. excuse me, they don't necessarily charge full secondary prices for them. The fact that there isn't even a tier of like what secondary map is a little outrageous to me, but that's neither here or there. Also, I will say we had some cocktails at the bars at Justin's, and they were fantastic. And they weren't batched.
They weren't serving when we...
Oh, really? No.
Well, so they weren't serving cocktails, so they just... And Kate really wanted one, and so she's like, well, I can't technically serve you because it was some weird thing. Like, I'll just make you something for free, and just, like, I'll blend it together, and just don't tell anybody. Which is super cool.
That's cool. Yeah, they made... I think they did an old-fashioned with it was with 4 Roses small batch.
Yeah.
And it was absolutely delicious. But anyway, give it a pop, Troy. Yeah, there's a little more air in that bottle.
Yeah, the only thing with them is their store picks are expensive. They do upcharge, and probably rightfully so. I think this bottle's $129.99.
Yeah, it's one of the more expensive Nulus I've seen.
Yeah, which is quite a bit. But it's not too shabby. We'll see.
I got that. I got their double oaked, which was the Whiskey Row store pick from the festival.
Blue one.
Yeah, and it's pretty good. There's a couple pours missing from it. I only paid $90 for that bottle.
Yeah, the honey one is just more expensive, I think, because it longer process, I'm assuming, or something. But yeah, honey things in general are just typically a little more expensive. So
I do have a House of Bourbon toasted barrel finish from them.
Mm-hmm. Is that the rye?
No, it's just the toasted bourbon.
Okay.
Yep. I do have a toasted rye Indiana store pick, I think.
Yeah. Yep.
In the back. I got mostly, and a lot of their stuff is picks too. You don't really. Yeah. This is like the reserve. I think is just like their core.
Yeah.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
I see that this is bottled by Prohibition Craft Spirits. Mm-hmm. Do they do other people we know?
They're in Louisville. Yeah.
Do they do other things? I think Nulu is their brand. I think they actually do other things.
They do. Prohibition Craft Spirits does a couple things. Do they? I'm going to sound terrible here. Do they do Smooth Ambler?
That's MGP. So let's see.
Yeah. I'm just curious.
But Prohibition. If you guys are in the Nulu district of Louisville, Prohibition Craft Spirits is open till like 4 a.m. serving cocktails.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep. If we didn't try to get to Michter's that next morning to get the barrel strength, we were going to go there and finish off the night at Nulu.
I would have gone without you.
You should have.
I didn't know.
Yeah, Troy needs little sleep and lots of alcohol. That's how he runs. I don't run that way.
I like my sleep in my older age. But.
So here's what they say. This is just on the website. They do Nulu, obviously, single barrel.
Nulu.
Baxter's Rum.
I've heard of that.
Phoenix Hill Vodka. Highlands Gin. Nulu Reposado.
Ooh.
And that's it.
Okay.
So Nulu and other things like that. But no other whiskey, I guess.
Okay.
I think we might have actually talked about them. Did we talk? I don't know, whatever. This is like their... Anyway. I think Prohibition Spirits actually owned by another company. This is their spirits arm. We talked about it on a previous episode. Now I forget.
I think we did a Nulu episode where we talked about it or something.
Yeah, I think we did. Now that I'm remembering it. I've drinking since then.
I asked.
No, you're fine.
The nose is much hotter in this one than the Starlight.
This is 116?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you get the faint taint of the honey. Troy just loves when I use the word taint.
I do, but that was particularly clever.
Taint?
The faint.
But taint. There is, I mean, I would say it's predominantly bourbon on the nose.
It is
here.
a bourbon, yeah.
It's herbaceous.
Herbaceous.
I just thought of that.
TM, trademark. Coming to you, trademark, herbaceous.
Oh my God, what a slobber knocker. This is so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do the Bardstown Bourbon Company under your tongue trick, Matt. Put the tongue against the
I
roof of
haven't
your
figured
mouth.
that out yet.
Well,
I don't want to do that.
No, you should do it. Stop being a bitch.
I'll do it later. I get a lot more is it weird? I get more tea notes on this thing.
What kind of tea?
Black tea.
Lipton?
Get more of a jasmine tea.
No, not English breakfast, but it's like I do. It's like a black tea with lemon and honey.
I get the tea bag notes on the taint.
all right. No, but I drink a lot of like English breakfast with lemon, and sometimes put honey in that.
If you think about it, you're constantly tea bagging your taint. Anyway,
sorry everybody.
We're not at the no guys, we've been serious, and the liquor finally hit me. It finally hit me.
Took a while. No, I like it. It's a little bit more complex. It's definitely a hotter whiskey, even though only 6 points. It definitely hits a lot harder.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. This is definitely the most bourbony nose out there. It's still got that faint honey thing, but overall, it's way bolder, especially on the mid palate. If you can get past the heat initially, and we talked about this a few episodes back, and we probably should have done it on the Bar Sound Bourbon episode. But what I was just yelling at Matt to do is like, if you take, and a couple people have mentioned to me that they really like this trick now that I've said it on here, so I'll say it for the people who missed that episode. When we were doing our distill it to barrel tour tasting at Bar Sound Bourbon Company, she had us put your tongue on the roof of your mouth and pour the liquid into the bottom of your mouth there, and then right before you swallow, put your tongue down. And essentially what it does is it separates all the ethanol and all the heat to the bottom of your tongue and the sides of your tongue, and then it allows your palate to actually taste what's going on. And if you can do that with this, I mean, I've been trying to stop myself from doing that first and doing it second, but
I think one of the reasons that she recommended doing it is because on the sides of your mouth, like the gums of your right and left side of your mouth, all it is pain from alcohol.
Yeah.
And you can't actually absorb any flavor from that when, obviously, like if you're typically just drinking without thinking about it, it's going to be coming in contact with that thing, those parts of your mouth. So in order to, in order to more directly concentrate and evaluate the taste, apparently this is like a better thing to do. Does that make sense?
I just tried it, and it just like postpones the heat, then it hits you even harder.
Well, I think you might be pouring a little bit too much in there too.
Maybe, okay, because I'm like, oh my god, like this is,
you got to be careful. You can't pour
100 times
pour
hotter.
like a bunch in there.
Okay.
But it should feel like a dentist numbed the bottom of your
It
mouth.
is,
when
yeah,
you
it feels
overcame.
exactly like that. It's like,
But
whoa.
it's also definitely a way better way to evaluate proof if you're doing blind.
Yeah.
That's
blind
interesting.
tasting.
And that's
point, yeah.
something that me and Troy were like right away. It's like,
Interesting,
we should
okay.
do that next time we're blind tasting.
Yeah.
And I've just been doing it with everything because it's just helping me differentiate the proofs. But sorry, back to my little quick take on it. Nose is pleasant, very more bourbon forward than any other honey finished whiskey we've tried here. I think this is the most well done one. I really liked the Starlight. This is just really bold. 2 Indiana bourbons finished in honey barrels, but I think the heat for me brings the little bit more of the flavor of the whiskey out of it. The honey finish is there. I love the honey finish. I love the honey mouthfeel, but it's more of a bourbon through and through than I think anything we've tried here. Not taking anything away from the Starlight. I would give the Starlight a 9.5, and I would give this a 10. This is an all-day drinker for me. Maybe even a drinker thinker, but it's definitely a drinker. So, Matt?
I'm going drinker. I'm also going, I'd like to try this on a cube. See if it even is better than that.
I think it would be great on a cube.
I think the Starlight might not hold up to a cube. I think this would hold up to a cube. Like I said before, though, the black tea notes and just, it's a little bit more interesting. It is definitely more thinkery than the Starlight is. I think it's, I'm trying the palate trick. I'm trying other things. I think it's a little bit, it's on the side of the coin of the Starlight as far as like it's a little bit too hot. I think the Starlight could be a little bit hotter, like 113. If I put them together, maybe it'll be the perfect one.
Do you mind actually passing me the Starlight? I got to do a little quick
Yeah,
side
yeah.
by side.
Yeah, you want to grab it, Anthony?
Yeah, sure.
But I'm going drinker, and I think I'm gonna give the win, in my personal opinion, still to the Starlight, but it's a very close margin. I think the Starlight's just a little bit more drinker.
Where did you find this Starlight again?
That was actually from my birthday. Thanks, Eric Bothwell. He went to Starlight on my recommendation, and it was there, and he bought it for me.
That's cool. Yeah. Troy?
Yeah. I definitely do agree with Matt. The Starlight is undeniably what I want to drink, but I do think that there's some I don't know. Obviously, additional complexities with the higher proof on the Nulu, and I remember getting a little bit more honey the first couple of times that I tried it on the Nulu too, but we kind of went in descending honey forwardness with these whiskeys, which I thought was pretty interesting.
That is actually, yeah.
Yeah. and they become more and more complex when it's not like
when you're leaving alcohol in the bottle. Essentially,
yeah. But for me, I mean, it's a drinker. I'm just gonna stick with drinker as well. Yeah, it's a tough call.
Yeah, I just went back to the Starlight verse. I think the Starlight is probably more of an everybody drinker.
Yeah,
a little more approachable.
I think the Nulu is more of like a connoisseur drinker.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely more complex. It's definitely hotter.
Definitely
got to know
complex.
what you're looking for in it.
Yeah.
I still think it wins, but that's my opinion.
It's the Nulu is very much like you were saying, just has the bourbon backbone versus all of them. I think.
And not that the Starlight's missing it, but
no, and the reason that I think I'm at least in this moment preferring the Starlight is because it seems like there's this secondary sort of grain that's kind of just trying to squeak out a little bit. And
it's like it's somewhere in between. There's a crossfade. It's somewhere in between the 110 to the 116. The bourbon takes over from the honey. Like they're kind of like just fighting. Like the Starlight's just a little bit more honey, and the Nulu is a little bit more bourbon. And there's some magic crossfade that goes right in between them that they're exactly equivalent, but they're just on the other side of the spectrum. So yeah,
very nice though.
Dang.
Well, 4 bottles going in the drink.
Every single one is going in.
Unfortunately,
Garrison Brothers
fucking taint it with that bullshit.
The other 3 will even them out.
Yeah. Cool.
Speaking of taints,
what
are we doing up?
So next.
What are we doing up? What are we doing up?
up?
Guys, I can't talk anymore.
Well, then I'll take care of it. Don't worry.
What's coming up, Matt?
Next is has been an episode I've been wanting to do for a heck of a long time. It is the Spot series.
I forgot we're doing that.
So we are just going to do the entire Spot line, except for Gold Spot, because fuck you.
Yeah, that shit's ridiculous.
I almost got it, and I was very excited.
I don't even know about that.
Yeah,
$500 whiskey.
Well, yeah, now it is. But it's just like a limited anyway. Whatever. So we're doing the Spots. The entire line.
We haven't done an Irish whiskey on here since like fucking March.
Yeah, we're gonna do all 3 of the greens, and then we're gonna do blue, red, yellow. What am I missing?
We're not doing all 3 of the. We're not doing 7
we're doing
pours.
all of them, baby. Every single spot we're doing. We're doing one episode that night. We're doing them all.
We're doing 7 pours.
Yep.
No.
Yep. We're doing it anyway. Thank you all for listening.
Guys, we're not doing that.
We're doing it.
Hit the thumbs up button. Give us a 5-star review, or I'm going to kill your family and make Matt watch.
All
Subscribe, like, share, follow us. I probably have a Twitter now. Follow me there. It's on that note, Matt, lead us out.
Yodeling.